Let's talk about it, right? You can see the sun not up yet. About 5:45 now, our sunrise. And today we'll feature some sunshine, but more humidity. So partly sunny, a little sticky. You're going to notice that. Showers are likely on Saturday, not the entire day, but at least part of the day. So Sunday is the better weekend day. In fact, it looks dry and it looks pretty warm on Sunday. So nice end to the weekend. You can see just a couple of patches of fog showing up south of town with some locally reduced visibility. Not a big issue for most of us. And temperatures out the door are running at or above 60 in most places. It is 63 Worcester, 64 Boston, mid 60s up in Lawrence. You head down south of Boston, a few upper 50s around Plymouth, around 60 on the Cape right now. And you can see there are some clouds kind of working on through, but these are mid and high altitude clouds and they're moving pretty quickly. So it should be a decent sunrise this morning and we'll have partial sunshine throughout the day. A bit more cloud cover as we get later into the afternoon, but all the while the winds are coming in off the water. It's a southeasterly wind today and that's going to keep us in the mid 70s on the Cape, right around 80 at the coastline, low to mid 80s farther inland. A pretty decent day overall if you have outdoor plans. You can see the rain nearby moving away to our north, another batch off to the west, but out ahead of this frontal boundary, the humidity is increasing with dew points in the mid 60s to around 70, and that sticky air is working in our direction. So the humidity will climb over the next 24 hours and then toward the end of the weekend and early next week, it should drop back down once again. So here you can see the timeline on Futurecast showing you nothing but some cloud cover in and out over the course of the day. You have plans this evening, you're all right, but after midnight, look at the rain here off to the west. It moves on in, so we are going to wake up to kind of damp conditions with some showers on Saturday morning. Temperatures hold in the 60s overnight, and tomorrow is a cooler day. A lot of clouds. I think low to mid 70s, the best we do with that batch of showers early on. It shifts out, and then this cold front will press eastward, giving us drier weather overall on Sunday. So Sunday is really the pick day of the weekend. Here's a timeline on those showers. We have them around in the morning hours through about lunchtime, especially in easternmost Massachusetts, and then during the afternoon, it's mainly dry. So I think Sunday looks like the better weekend day overall. And if you have a chance either tonight, tomorrow night, or Sunday night, look up. The annual Perseid meteor shower is going to be going on. You might be able to see after midnight. A few shooting stars. We had a full moon earlier this week, so maybe a little harder to see them than usual, but nonetheless. And a good Friday to you. I'm meteorologist Cindy Fitzgibbon. Not a bad day. Partly to at times mostly sunny skies. Temperatures jump out of the 60s into the 80s this afternoon, although there will be a southeasterly wind, so it's near 80 at the coast, probably staying in the mid 70s on Cape Cod. But look at the interior, about 80 to 85 degrees, and with a bit more humidity, it will probably feel a little warmer than that. The dew points are creeping up into the lower 60s now in Boston, but it's a little soupier down to our south and west with dew points in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. That more humid air is actually working in our direction, and it's pulling out ahead of a cold frontal boundary that is producing showers and storms. All of this is working in our direction. So as we go through the afternoon, we're just seeing some of those mid and high altitude clouds. But during the evening hours, the clouds will start to thicken up. It's dry for your evening plans, though. And then look at this area of rain coming in around midnight. It's going to move from west to east, so we'll be waking up to some wet weather here pretty early on Saturday morning. Now, the temperatures will hold overnight with the clouds, the more muggy air, and also the rain coming on in. We'll keep it in the low to mid 60s for overnight low temperatures. And tomorrow is a cooler day. We won't get out of the 70s. In fact, low to mid 70s, the best we're doing with all the cloud cover and the wet weather. It's all associated with this warm frontal boundary lifting on through. Once it pushes by, we'll dry out in the afternoon hours. Cold front comes through on Saturday night, and that's going to push all this moisture out of here and give us some pretty nice weather for Sunday. So Sunday is the pick day of the weekend. Down in the tropics, we're watching a couple of features. One here is this cluster of storms off the Florida coastline. This probably won't organize into anything substantial, but it is going to continue to bring some wet weather through parts of the Florida peninsula. And behind that here, east of the Bahamas, there's another tropical wave that the Hurricane Center has been eyeing for the past several days. It actually increased the chance to about 50% that this does form into a cyclone in the next 5 days. And it's important to track because it is generally moving here toward the west and could come close to the eastern seaboard early next week. It does, though, look like the upper level winds with a bit of a trough over the northeast would steer this away from our latitude, but it may come close to the eastern seaboard for a time early next week. So we'll keep you posted on that. In the meantime, I want to break down your weekend for you. We wake up to that wet weather on Saturday morning. There you see it through 8 o'clock in the morning, but it's not with us the entire day. I would plan on at least some wet weather through at least lunchtime, midday hours or so, and then that will shift offshore. We're left with a lot of clouds through a good portion of the day. Thunderstorms may develop back to the west and scroll through during the evening and overnight hours, but we clear things out on Sunday. Sunday looking really nice, and it's unfortunate that we've got so much cloud cover tonight and tomorrow night, but by Sunday night, you want to look up the annual Perseid meteor showers going on, and between about midnight, 5-6 a.m., that's your best chance to view any of these shooting stars. If you get away from the lights and look up, you might see them. Unfortunately, this year we just had a full moon, so that may interfere some of that brightness. Nonetheless, the weather looking pretty good here as we go into early next week. Temperatures continuing in the 80s.
Cindy, changing over to the weather now. We have the rest of the day today to enjoy.
And think about how many times we've stood here on a Friday and gone, well, half the weekend's going to be okay. So here's Ryan. He's one of our interns this summer. He's awesome. Yeah, and we've been looking at some statistics, okay?
Oh, okay.
So we've had 10 weekends since June the 1st. Take a look at this. Of those 10 weekends, 6 of the Saturdays have had rain and 9 of the Sundays have had no rain.
Good number crunching.
Yeah, we're sensing a pattern here. This weekend, yep, Saturday's going to have some rain and Sunday's not going to have some rain. We just have a few high clouds out there right now. It's been a pretty nice day overall. Comfortable in Boston, 76 degrees. That wind is coming in off the water, and the dew point temperature was starting to creep up, and now with the wind coming in off the water in Boston, it settled back into the mid-50s. But to our south and back to the west, look at these dew points in the mid and upper 60s, close to 70. That's some uncomfortable, almost oppressive air, and that's working in our direction. So the humidity is going to tick up overnight. You're going to notice it tomorrow, and then it will start to come down again as we head towards Sunday and early next week. So it does turn a little bit humid briefly around here. And where we have that more humid air, we have clouds. And off to the west, there is the front. This front is producing showers. This front is going to approach us tomorrow and help to bring in some of that wet weather. So for now, we still have a decent amount of sunshine, but you can see the clouds off to the west and to the south, and these are going to continue to fill on in here through the rest of the afternoon. So partly sunny right now. Temperatures running in the 70s along the coastline, Beverly, Marshfield, down to the Cape. You jump inland, we have reached 80, Norwood, Taunton, on up to Bedford as well, Fitchburg, 82 up in Lawrence. We're in the mid-70s right now back through the Worcester Hills. We'll climb a couple more degrees, but along the coastline, it's steady as she goes with that wind off the water. Notice how the clouds do start to fill in a little bit, but if you have plans this evening, it stays dry, in fact, right up until about midnight. Notice on Futurecast, the clouds coming on in as we get into this evening, but no wet weather around here. There's a batch of rain off to the west, and that's going to start to creep in as we get closer to midnight. So after midnight, there will likely be some showers coming on down. So by the time the sun is starting to come up tomorrow morning, look at the wet weather that is out there. It is going to be a wet start to the day on Saturday. Temperatures overnight will hold in the low to mid 60s, a real muggy feel. And tomorrow with more cloud cover and yes, some wet weather, look at the temperatures. We are stuck in the low to mid 70s for high temperatures on Saturday. So it's a cooler day. First front goes on by. We get a little break in the action, and then watch this front here off to the west. This is going to bring a few thunderstorms out across New York State on Saturday evening. 1 or 2 may cross the area Saturday night, but then we're clearing things out for Sunday. So Sunday is looking good. Now here's the timeline on that wet weather Saturday morning. It will linger longest on the Cape close to lunchtime, and then there may be just a spot shower redeveloping through midday. Thereafter, we dry it out, but the clouds do stick around. So the wettest part of the day will certainly be in the morning. And in terms of rainfall, it looks like a quarter to perhaps or closer to an inch once you get down toward the Cape and the islands. Out in the tropics, we are watching a couple of areas. There's a disturbance off the east coast of Florida producing some rain. That's likely not going to organize into something, but this wave east of the Bahamas may develop and come close to the eastern seaboard next week. So we will watch that for you. It doesn't look like it would be a player for us locally, but something to watch as we get into next week. There you see the nice weather coming up on Sunday, and that's important because with clear skies either tonight, tomorrow night, or Sunday, if you have a chance, look up the Perseid meteor showers going on. You may see after midnight a few shooting stars. The moon was full earlier this week, so it's a little bit bright out there. So get a chance, look up. I think Sunday is your bet in terms of the weather. Erica and Antoinette.